choosing a reliable platform because you also want the exchanges to leave you those coins, within as early as possible. You don't want the exchanges to hold the transaction, right? So this is why you need to look for an exchange which is reliable. And once you've done that, you should buy a cold wallet.
Hi everyone, welcome back to SatsOverCents. This is your host and friend AJ, and today's topic is a very interesting topic, and I'm genuinely curious about what our subject matter expert Varun is going to talk about for this topic. So, without further ado, this topic is about Bitcoin wallets. It's a topic that I'm not very familiar with. So I'm hoping to learn a lot from this video, Varun. No pressure. And we're going to talk about how can you self-custody your coins. I'm sure you must have heard the term, not your keys, not your coins. And we're going to demystify that saying or what that really means. And I'm sure you must have heard about, scaremongering news about self-custody, and which is also what the ETFs play into. Without further ado, Varun, please take it away from here.
Hey, thanks, AJ. Thanks for having me. Yes, so we've been along in this Bitcoin world to understand that how important it is to self-custody your coins. So before I actually start straight away with cold wallets, I want to give you a brief what are the wallets available. So first of all, people like you and me, and there are a lot of people like us who basically buys Bitcoin from an exchange. And there are a lot of times what happens is, they tend to leave those coins on the exchanges. This is what we have seen which happened in Canada with Mount Gox, and there was also a documentary on Netflix by the name Trust No One. So our listeners can certainly watch that documentary to know what exactly happened and why is it so important to self custody it. And recently we saw that in the last bull cycle we saw that with FTX exchange, right? Where exchanges are selling, their consumers paper Bitcoin. So that means you technically don't own it. You just have an IOU saying that, you hold this much of Satoshis or Bitcoins, right? But once you self-custody it, that's yours. And that is where, you have 100% control and 100% ownership of your funds or your coins. So first is the exchange, what we spoke about. And the second one is software wallets, they call it, or they call it hot wallets. The reason they're called hot wallets is because it's always connected to the internet. So you may have heard an application called Trust Wallet, which Binance as an exchange has adopted that because that's open source. So that is like a decentralized application. That means nobody controls the application and it's open source, right? It's for anybody and everybody. And everybody can read that code to verify that if it's genuine or not. So those are called hot wallet because it's always connected to the internet. Now there is a risk factor there. I mean, it's much better than leaving your coins on the exchanges. At least you don't have any third party controlling it. But there is a risk of your electronic device getting hacked. And once your phone or your laptop is hacked, then obviously people who have that access can certainly access your funds and coins or whatever you have it on that wallet. And then comes cold wallets. The reason they are also called hardware wallets, it looks like a pen drive. And the reason they're called cold wallet is because it's not connected to the internet, right? So nobody can hack it. It doesn't matter from which exchange you bought your coins from. Or let's say, if I am sitting in one country and, I have my cold wallet and I move to any other country. So yes, so the beauty about having a cold wallet is that you hold your money 100%. Now, we humans, the first reaction is that people get scared and they are a little fearful of the idea that, oh, we have 100% ownership. That means if we lose it, nobody can get it for us. So, and if you want something which has 100% ownership or control, you need to have some kind of responsibility towards that. So, in this video, we are certainly going to talk about the details one should keep in mind. But this is a basic understanding of different wallets, right? And now, if there are people who want to take it a level further, then there are also called multi-sig wallets, which have multiple signatures. I wouldn't want to talk much about that because I don't want our audience or our listeners to get confused. So, we're going to keep
Right.
it very simple and easy. We're going to keep it only till cold wallet and how do you safeguard your seed phrase as well.
Okay. Okay, thanks for that introduction, Varun. I think that was really, really insightful. So one question I have is, how do you actually safeguard your own Bitcoin? I know you mentioned about the hardware, you mentioned about not connected to the internet, So I'm sure most people know that you need to have your own phrases for you to safeguard it, to memorize it, or to keep it somewhere in the safe, just like how you would do with your online banking credentials, right? So it's getting access to your, fiat currency bank balance. So in Bitcoin case, obviously that's that 12 letters or 12 words rather, sorry, that you have to keep it safe so that nobody can access it. But the beauty is that you can access your Bitcoin from anywhere as long as you have 12 words, right? So do you want to tell us a little bit more about how anybody who's new to Bitcoin should start thinking about those things?
Okay, so first of all, you can just buy Bitcoin from an exchange. You can decide which one is a reliable exchange, because obviously it's not like you buy a smaller amount and suddenly you want to, self-custody that, because obviously cold wallet, it's a little expensive. When I say little expensive, it'll cost you about $120, combining it with the entire kit. So if you have Bitcoin worth $100, it's not worth buying a cold wallet, right? So this is why you need to make sure that you are choosing a reliable platform, because you also want the exchanges to leave you those coins, within as early as possible. You don't want the exchanges to hold the transaction, right? So this is why you need to look for an exchange which is reliable. And once you've done that, you should buy a cold wallet. Like, so I my personal recommendation would be to go for either a Trezor or a cold card. Now, cold card is by CoinKite, which is a Canadian company. It's again open source. It's air gapped. Now, these are very high technical, fancy words, right? Air gap. So just because I'm talking about it, I just want to put it out there that air gap means you can access that wallet without electricity and without needing a computer and without needing a software wallet. So usually what happens is, because you have a pen drive, which is a cold wallet, and it's not connected to the internet, usually you also require a software wallet to support that with. That means, let's say I have a pen drive, I need to plug it in my laptop in order to access that. And once I access that, uh, so with CoinKite, it's air gap. So that means I don't need a second device to operate that. I can
I
directly
see.
spend my Bitcoins from the cold card. That's why it's air gap. Because many a times what can happen is, if your computer is hacked, you don't want to plug in your cold wallet. Till the time your cold wallet is not connected to the internet, you're fine. But once you connect it with a hacked electronic device, anything can happen, because you're opening the entire gates. There is no more security. This is why I recommend people to go for air gapped devices. But if they have Trezor, which is also a very reliable open source, anybody can verify the code. Trezor is equally good. In simple terms, think of like you have an iPhone and you have a credit card which is stored on your iPhone in the Wallets app. And you basically open up the phone with the help of the PIN code or your facial recognition. Like, so in that way also, you also have to put in your PIN to protect your cold wallet, right? But then you can access it without connecting it. It's like you are doing Apple Pay without the need of a credit card. You don't have a physical card, but that card is stored on it. So very similar. If somebody who doesn't understand, this is why you have password protected cell phones, right? It'd be either through facial recognition or through a PIN code. Very similar exercise, I would say.
I see. Okay. Got it. Got it. Thanks for that. Okay, so moving on to the next topic. So if somebody does want to get uh, a cold wallet, where should they start?
So first of all, I want everybody to do their own research, because it's your hard-earned money that you're putting it out there for your future generations as well. It's also for inheritance and all of that. And this is the first time we have an asset that we have 100% control over it. So this is why I would request everybody who's listening to our podcast to do your own research as well. But my two sats would be uh, Trezor.io. That's the website you can go, um, and look at the devices that cater to your needs and preferences. And also Cold Card, which you can go on YouTube and other you know uh, browsers and understand what is actually, and you can basically buy one. It'll take about 2 weeks for it to come, and I would recommend people should use an email address which is not a regular email address that you use on daily basis. because you also don't want to disclose that you have it. It's like, you don't go and tell people that what is the kind of real estate properties you own and what is the kind of money you make. Similarly, you have to treat it like that. So you just make sure that you use a unique email address, and try and never order from a third party. So I would recommend, please do not go on Amazon and buy one just because you're getting $10 or $20 cheaper. It's always good to buy it directly from the source. This is why I said Trezor.io or the ColdCard website. And so this is something people should keep in mind. So once you buy the cold wallet, so basically, you will come to know that on that packaging also there'll be few basic steps what needs to be done. So think of it like you just bought a pen drive. So once you buy it, you plug it in with the USB-C, which is a wire which is connected from your laptop to the cold wallet. And once you do that, you will get an option of creating a new wallet or restoring a wallet. So now, restoring a wallet, let me just give you a little gist here. Let's say, AJ, you are moving from one country to the other. And while this is happening, the airport authorities, they refuse you to take this basically cold wallet. They say you cannot take it. Usually it doesn't happen, but
Right.
I'm just thinking loud and
Yeah.
giving you a scenario. So, and you decide to destroy a wallet right there at the airport because you have to catch a flight and you are moving to another part of the world. So you've destroyed the wallet, right? And once you land into a new country, you buy the wallet again and you put in the seed phrase, which is through a proposal called BIP 39. We'll talk about that in detail.
Yeah.
But just to complete the story here, you buy a cold wallet where you just landed and you put in your 12 or 24 words, right? And your money is back in. So you never lose your money because let me remind everybody, the cold wallet doesn't have your coins. The coins never leave the network or the blockchain. You just have the key to access your funds. And that key is stored in the
Right.
cold wallet.
I see. Got it. That's interesting. I didn't know that either, and I love that today. I learned that today, which is amazing. Okay, so I know you mentioned a lot there, and appreciate that for the listeners and some people watching it. Break it down, just watch it slow. Maybe come back and visit this video again or podcast and listen to it again. So let's talk about that BIP 39 that you just mentioned. How is that different to the normal 12 phrases?
No, so those are just part of BIP 39 was introduced in 2013 by a guy called I don't remember his name. His nickname was Tech. He's basically from Satoshi Labs. So he was the person who basically introduced this BIP 39. And in short, a person has the option of creating a 12, 18, or 24 words. But usually people use 12 words or 24 words. And so now the first basic question is what words? So there is a set of 2048 words which are part of this BIP 39. And there are only 2048 words which are included. These are also called mnemonic. In simple words, it's seed phrase. Once you plug it in from your laptop to the pen drive through a USB-C wire, you will get two options: create a new wallet or restore a wallet. Restoring a wallet, I've just explained that. So once you create a wallet, you have the option of choosing 12 words or 24 words. Ideally, I would recommend you can choose 12, 24. Doesn't really matter, but people who are a little skeptical will certainly go for 24. And there's nothing wrong people who are choosing 12 or 24. But just keep in mind, these 12 or 24 words are so important that I would recommend people should never say it out loud. The reason they should not say it out loud is because in today's time, where we are surrounded with gadgets, we have given a microphone access to our phones or to our laptops because of the meetings we attend, because of the calls we attend, or it's something for social media and all of that. This is why, when you talk about a certain brand and suddenly you open Instagram, you see only those ads coming in because obviously your phone is listening to you, right? Google is listening to you. So this is why I recommend anybody who's using it should not say those words loudly. Number one. Number two, when you are writing that, you should make sure that you are in a secluded room where you have no electronic gadgets. Now, let's say you'll be like, but I have a laptop and I'm just setting up my wallet and I have a laptop with me. How do I? So this is why you need to make sure that you don't say it out loud and your webcam is completely covered, so they cannot see what you're writing. That's
Right.
very
Okay.
important. And you should not have your smartwatch, the smart ring, anything.
Any
So just
electronics.
any electronic, just to be on the safer side, right? And you need to write those 12 words or 24 words. And again, it'll also ask you, do you want to create a pin? Because every time you want to log into it's like your phone, right? So you can also create a 4 digit or 6 digit or 8 digits. I would recommend go for eight because it's much better and it's always
Much
good to be on the
secure.
safer
Yeah.
side. Yeah. Because this is the first time in our life we have something which we can control 100%. Till now, we didn't have anything before Bitcoin. So this is why, initially people might feel that you're getting paranoid, but it's always better to be safe than sorry because this is your hard-earned money, right?
Yeah.
So you have to take extra precaution.
Yeah. No bank is protecting your money. There's
No
no
bank,
bank in the
nothing.
middle that you are your own bank, basically, isn't it?
Exactly. And this is the reason why we got into Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
So the reason you can ask me, why do I need to self-custody it? Then my only counter question to you will be, what was the reason for you to get into Bitcoin? Because you don't trust anybody. You've reached a time where you want an asset to be completely owned by you, which you can leave for your kids or your family for future. So,
Right.
and something which they can buy back their time and freedom, so that we are not, lack of a better term, we are not corporate slave.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's very, very insightful, very interesting, amazing. Let's keep going. So I have a few questions on that BIP 39, that you mentioned. That's like a card. Is there an example that you can show us the card? And I mean, I know what you said about, recording your phrase, the 12 or 24, onto it, so that you can protect it from, you know, rain, water, fire, anything, right?
So this is I hope you can see it. This is actually a sealed Trezor hardware wallet. Okay,
Right.
this is a Safe 3 model. So basically,
Okay.
this is the cold wallet and which we were talking about. So if
Yeah.
somebody who's the first time doing it, they need to create a wallet. And yeah, and these are called, so those seed phrases are protected by writing on a piece of paper. And I told you that you can't say those words loudly. And the second
Right.
thing is you should never take a picture and you should never leave anything on your electronic devices, so that you can't take a
Mm,
snapshot, you can't take a picture of the seed phrase, because again, you don't want, if anybody who's got access to those seed phrases can take your money and nobody can get you that money. So just be careful out there. Recently I saw a tweet wherein the person was looking to get a plate to protect his or her seed phrase, and they asked for the password, the 12 words. And the guy didn't know. Maybe, okay, maybe because it is going to be embossed on that titanium plate. So he thought, oh, I might have to disclose it. And eventually he lost all his money. So people have to be really careful that nobody can get to know what those 12 words are, right?
I see.
And even if you have to memorize it, I would say just say it within it. Don't even say it out loud. And this is
Right.
how you can do it. I hope you can see it. These are called
Yes.
seed phrase, basically. It's a titanium plate by CryptoTag. So there are 12 in front and 12 at the back for 24,
Right.
right?
Okay.
Now,
We'll
again,
put the
I
link
can
in the down in the video below.
absolutely. So for everybody to check it out.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
these are basically fireproof, waterproof, earthquake proof. Because we
I
all
see.
know, paper can be dissolved in water. You can lose the paper. It's just ink. And
Yeah.
we've heard enough cases where people have lost the seed phrase and they've lost their money, and nobody can get it back for you.
I see. Okay. So now that we've all seen it, and for people who are listening, it looks like a credit card, but it's made out of titanium. So think of that. It's got, columns and rows on it, 12 on the one side and 24, 13 to 24 on the other side, with alphabets on the left index, which is A to Z. Okay. Moving on. I think the main question that I have is how does something like this, like something like BIP 39 convert random you know, uh, entropy into a word list?
This proposal has only got 2048 words, so usually you'll get a book also. Sometimes because you don't have to emboss, like let's say, let's give an example to our audience. Let's say
Hmm.
you're planning to emboss one of the seed phrase and the word is table.
Hmm.
So now the thing is that table is Table. There are five characters or five alphabets in that word. So there are few which are available out there in the market where you can actually emboss Table. But there are
Right.
few which is BIP 39, 2048 words. So you'll also get a book along with it. And there will be a code that you will basically embossed on that plate. So it's
I
not that
see.
word you're doing it. It's just that it's those the numbers you are basically embossing it on that plate.
So what you're saying is that the seed phrase will be encoded into a series of numbers and alphabets.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And
Got it.
sometimes only the first four is required. Let's say if in this particular case, let's say I am doing the word table. So Table, that's four letters. And remaining automatically it will pick it up because there are only
I
2048
see.
words in that proposal.
I see what you mean.
There is only one possibility for that word to happen, and you have those first
I
four.
see. Okay. Got it. Got it. Thank you. Okay. So let me just, I know you mentioned to us how it keeps the seed word secure. Are there any popular wallets that support BIP 39
I would
that you
say
can
any
share?
Trezor, Ledger.
Right.
So my personal recommendation would be Trezor or ColdCard.
I see. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. I think we're going to start landing the plane here. So I have a few more questions like, what is the difference between a seed phrase and a private key?
So a seed phrase is basically that's your password, that's your code to the safe, and a private key is basically this is required for you to sign in case of you want the transaction to go through.
I see.
So I'll give you a very good example.
Hmm.
Every time you transfer your coins from an exchange to your hardware wallet, you should use a different receiving address every time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because if I keep using the same wallet address to receive the coins,
Hmm.
anybody can, because it's open source and it's blockchain technology, decentralized. Everybody can see how much coins I have. They cannot put an identity to the wallet, but they'll know that, oh, this particular wallet has so much of Bitcoins. And it's also for privacy, right? I mean, it's always that way.
Right.
So this is
Right.
why you should always use a new receiving address whenever you have to do a transaction. I don't know whether you heard this term called UTXO. It also helps in that. UTXO basically means is unspent transaction output. Now, I don't want to confuse our listeners and I don't want to confuse you. So I'm just going to give you a very basic example. Let's say you have a Bitcoin worth 100 pounds. Okay. With different UTXO means because in future we are anticipating the value is going to be in millions.
Hmm.
So UTXO means that means you don't have just one transaction of that 100 pounds. So you may have a £5, £10, £20, £30 because in future we don't know what is the kind of fees will be charged to do a transaction. So this is why
Got it.
UTXO is important and this is how you do it. So this is why you need to make sure that every time you do it, you should choose a new receiving address.
Right. Okay. That's why it's distributed, and with that distribution comes one another step of security and safeguarding your Bitcoin so that, it's
Yeah, and
distributed.
it's for your privacy as well. So you
Yeah.
can
Got it.
see that the addresses keep going, 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 but that's not the address only used.
Yeah.
Otherwise, anybody will come to know how much Bitcoin you have, and that could be a
Right.
threat to you.
Got it. So it's like comparing, having more than a single bank account, because I think most people have more than a single bank account. which means you're not putting all your money and savings into one account. And for security's sake, you want to split that and so on.
But the money in the bank account is not yours. So I mean,
Yeah,
it's
that's a separate topic for another day, I think, for our users.
yeah.
But coming back to the BIP 39, I think this is going to be the last question. How does BIP 39 relate to BIP 32 and BIP 44?
I don't want to confuse our listeners. BIP 39
Okay,
is something. Think of it, BIP 39, I would say, like the roots of a tree. That is basically BIP 39, right?
I
That is
see.
like your master key to the entire wallet in
Okay,
simple terms. And BIP 32, I would say, imagine that a seed phrase has got trunks of tree. It's like it has got branches. So think of BIP 32 as branches that you can have many addresses for privacy, which I was talking about, receiving addresses, so that you are receiving to the same wallet, but nobody can see it that how many coins you have in your wallet. So BIP
right.
32 is that. Think of as the branches, but they all link back to the same seed,
See,
right?
right. Okay,
Because
okay.
every transaction I'm changing the receiving address, but I'm still getting that my money in the cold wallet. And just to clear one more point, you don't need to connect your hardware wallet to your computer when you have to receive. The only time you need to connect is when you're sending funds out, when the
I
money, when
see.
the Bitcoin is going out of the cold card,
Cool.
the cold storage. Yeah. But when it is air gapped, you don't even need a laptop, which we already spoken about that. And BIP 44 is basically like, see, we are only Bitcoin only channel and we only believe in Bitcoin, but there
Yeah,
are other coins like Ethereum and Cardano and Solana and Binance and all of that. So though BIP 44 is like you're labeling each branch of the tree, and one branch might say Bitcoin and the other might say Litecoin wallet, or it could
I
be
see.
anything else.
Got
But
it.
BIP 39 is what we need to keep in mind because there is no second best. There only Bitcoin.
Okay. Last, thank you for that. Last touchdown question. What if somebody loses their BIP 13?
I would say God bless them. There's nothing we can do about it. I would say just memorize it and just revise that every day because there is nothing. If you lose it, you lose it. There's
Hmm.
nothing you can do. This is why you have these tools and resources available so that you don't lose it easily, right?
Got it. Okay. Thanks a lot, Varun. I'm sure, like me, all the listeners and viewers of this episode must have learned a lot about Bitcoin and self-custody and cold storage and offline cards, cold cards, and so on. Please, if anybody has any follow-up questions, please make sure to ask those questions in the comments below. And otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this episode. And keep stacking, do your own research, and keep hodling. And I'll see you in the next one.